When you receive the kit, it will be placed in a package like this. Go ahead and open it and you'll notice that there's two interface devices. This is the interface for your vehicle, and this is the CarPlay box that's compatible with Apple CarPlay and also Android Auto. So let me go ahead and set this out here. And you also notice that there's a bunch of wires and harnesses. This largest one with the largest connector, I'll call this the main connector. And then we also have this aux 3.5 to these RCA cables. We also have the HDMI cable. We have a factory harness with two RCA jacks. And we also have another bunched up wires over here. This will go between the car interface and also to this main harness. And we have these video cables. And you also have your USB cable. Go ahead and ignore this. And then let me show you how everything gets connected together. I'll start off with this main harness. You'll notice that there's a RX and also GS jumper. Depending on the vehicle model you're going to be installing it to, the configuration will be different. Go ahead and refer to the instruction manual. It'll tell you exactly which jumper to use. For this case, we're going to be installing on a Lexus CT. For the Lexus CT, we're going to be using a GS can. So once you identify which can you're going to be using, just disconnect this can connector. And then you'll also find that there's two loose jumper cables that you see that's coming out of the main harness here. Grab those two wires and we are going to connect them to our GS can connectors. And the other can connector that we won't be using, go ahead and leave it. And if you leave it, you'll notice that it's just going from one wire to the other without being intercepted by a harness. And once you do that, note that there's also another connector here. This connector is going to be connected behind your radio, and this secondary connector is going to be connected to the monitor. So this wire over here is long enough to route to behind your monitor, and this other 2-pin harness that you see will connect to power the CarPlay device, which will be routed from the monitor side all the way to your glove compartment or wherever you decide to mount your interfaces. So let's go ahead and start connecting these. Okay, so obviously these connectors are going to the vehicle, so we won't be able to connect it, but we'll connect everything else you see here. So this main connector here that goes to the joint connector will connect to this piece right here. It is a joint connector that is surrounded with a heat shrink. So just go ahead and connect it like that. And then the other side, if not already connected, will connect to the other side of this bunched up wires. And on this bunched up wires, you will find that there's few wires that are connected. Your version may have it or may not have it. It's going to be two RCAs and also a green wire and also a blue wire. Okay, if you have these, go ahead and just ignore these, as this harness is used for other interface modules, but for a specific purpose, we are not going to be using this. But you will have this connector that says OSD controller. Go ahead and ignore this one as well. Okay, so all this is connected, and on this side right here, we'll connect to our interface, the largest connector on the interface. Just like that. And then next to this large connector, you'll notice that there's dip switches. Depending on your vehicle model, the configuration is going to be different, and you're going to be using a different dip switch. Right now it's at 4. 4 is for RCs and IS, and it could also cover other vehicles. If you purchase this kit directly from us and you indicate your vehicle model and year, we'll go ahead and configure this for you so you do not have to worry about it. But just in case you end up changing it accidentally, refer back to the instruction manual and it'll tell you exactly which dip switch needs to be engaged. And then on the same side of this interface, you'll notice that there's two video cables, and this is the video cable that corresponds to it. And these video cables are labeled in and out. The one that's labeled in, this one, will actually plug into the outside of this interface, and the one that's labeled out will connect to the inside of this. And then the other side of the harness, these two blue connectors will connect to the harness behind the monitor. So you're going to have to route this as well. And then on the other side, we see an HDMI female. Grab your HDMI cable. Go ahead and plug it in like this. And this is the most fragile area of this interface. Make sure you do not give any pressure to this, because once you bend this, the interface is done. It's going to break. So make sure you do not put any pressure to this while you're installing it and while you're mounting this interface. And on the other side of this interface, you'll see this other HDMI, which will plug in to our CarPlay box, the plastic box. There's also an HDMI. It plugs in just like that. Okay, and by the way, we are already done connecting the car interface section, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the side and focus on this Apple CarPlay. On this Apple CarPlay, since we're on the HDMI side, we need to connect this 2-pin wire and also this 3.5mm jack. This 2-pin wire is going to come from this harness right here, the harness that connected to behind your radio. You'll find this 2-pin connector, which will connect into this, just like that. This will power your Apple CarPlay. And then moving along to this 3.5mm jack, this is for your aux. This is for all the music and the turn-by-turn direction sound from the CarPlay box. You will connect to this 3.5mm to these two RCAs, which will connect like this. Okay. And then on the other side of this 3.5mm jack, you'll find that there's two RCAs that will connect to these two other RCAs. Go ahead and make sure you match the colors. And on the other side of this RCA cable are these car harness, which will connect to behind your radio. Okay, and then the next connection we want to make is the other side of this Apple CarPlay. And on this other side of this Apple CarPlay, we'll connect the 3.5mm jack that's coming out of this main harness. And not forget this. This is your mic, and it will connect to the USB side. So there's USB here. And then lastly, we'll connect our USB extension cable. We'll connect right into this, just like that. And then the other side, we'll route to wherever you desire. We recommend using the glove box. You don't have to drill any holes if you do that. If you would like to route it to your armrest, you can do so as well, but you may need to purchase another USB extension cable because it might not be long enough to reach there. And if you end up doing that as well, you will have to drill a hole in your armrest. Alright, so everything is connected. All we have to do now is get to the vehicle, connect this behind the radio. This connects to whatever connector was going to the radio before, daisy chains. And also this will connect to behind the monitor, and this will connect to whatever was connected to the monitor. We'll go into this. And we have this connector that goes behind the monitor as well. And then also our main harness that connects behind the radio. So this video is to strictly show the connection. Once again, don't forget to configure your sound levels, and how to do that is and grab your Apple CarPlay box here, and once everything is connected, locate your mic connection, and right next to the mic connection, you'll find this white plug here. And inside the white plug, closest to a 3.5mm, there's a little small button. You will actually need to use like a small paper clip or a very small pin set. Press it and hold for 3 seconds, and it will take you to the CarPlay box setting. And the main volume is going to show 46, and you're going to have to raise that to 56, which is the max volume. Okay, after you do that, go ahead and organize all the wires. Use wire loom, use electric tape or Tessa tape. Route it through the necessary areas and mount it, and you'll be done. If you have any questions about this harness connection, let me know in the comments below, or shoot us an email at info@bsonicusa.com. Thank you.